Ladies and gentlemen, this is Art of MMA. This is Conversations, not the podcast. This is our brand new show where we get a chance to kind of get back to our roots and talk to some fighters and people from the business and really dig in a little bit instead of kind of like the round table where we're kind of hopping around. This way we can really take some time and talk to everybody. So this is our new show, Conversations. This is episode number 2, and I'm lucky enough to be joined by Alex Soto. He's fought in UFC. He's fought in Bellator. He helped get Brave started. He's doing a bunch of stuff right now, pretty much everywhere he can get his hands into. So we'll jump into Alex and talk about all that. Real quick, make sure you take a second, hit like, subscribe, leave a comment, let us know how we're doing. I want to know if you guys are watching the show. I want to respond to you guys. I want to get better. So definitely leave a note so we can keep making the show the best it can be. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Alex Soto. Alex, how you doing, man?
Hey, what's up, Mike? Doing well, man. Doing great.
Man, I appreciate you coming on. You've always been great to us. We've done now 2 interviews on print. Now doing our first video. I hope we can get you on the roundtable one day too.
Yeah, man. I'd love to join you guys, man. You guys have some really interesting discussions.
I do have to warn you. The last couple episodes, Sergio's been kind of itching for a fight, so you're kind of in. You're. I don't know if you guys aren't too far apart age wise, so I don't
Yeah,
know.
I'm down. I'm down. I'm
I
always
don't
up for
know.
a good challenge, man.
All right. Couple things, we'll jump into. We have done a couple interviews with you, so if anybody wants to go back, DCXIV has all the Art of MMA interviews, so you can go back and just read everything. Me and Alex have done a couple full interviews, so there's plenty to go through. You've been kind of, I mean, I don't want to say retired. I know I saw an article that listed your last fight in Bellator as your retirement fight. Is that official, or are you still kind of like depends if you get the itch?
Man, it's so I get inspired by all these other athletes that kind of like my generation, quote unquote. You look at guys like Dominic Cruz
Yeah.
that I was looking up to, and I was like, "Whoa, man!" I would just want to like Dominic was just like the pioneer in the bantamweight division, and watching him still hang in there with those freaking top guys, man, and staying at the top for so long, it's like inspirational.
I'm not sure if he's still doing it because he wants to, or he just kind of wants to make up for the lost time he missed because he missed so much time with all those injuries.
Yeah, every fighter has like their own kind of demons or questions and challenges and confrontations that they want to do. And I just like people fight for many reasons, and some of them are to challenge themselves mentally, and we've talked about like the crazy mental aspect of the game and how that kind of like just moves your mind, how powerful that is. And so
Since
when
you've
you
been
step
behind,
in there.
since you've been
Yeah.
behind the scenes a little bit with doing the executive stuff, does that change how you look at fighting now?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It changes a lot. It's crazy, when you're on the other side of the business. First of all, it's really dirty, man. It's not as fun as it might seem, because it involves athletes that you really like, and fighters that you really are really like eager to help out and all that stuff. And then you see some of these fighters like dreams just crumble, and you're like, oh man, I'm really trying to help these guys out. And but at the same time, it's also really rewarding, being able to build up some athletes, and then watching their careers just explode. So it's got its pros and its cons. But
Now, for those that don't
it's
know,
cool, man.
Alex was very much hands on, starting Brave. And are you still involved with Brave? I've seen like kind of mixed reports.
No, I'm still homies with all the guys there, and working with those guys. But that job required me to travel all over the world, and
Yeah.
it required me to be gone away from my family. And I had just started my kids, so I stepped away. But I'm still, I reach out to those guys and be like, hey man, check out this fighter, and
Yeah.
help out that way. Um, but you're right, like that. Let me tell you, Mike, the whole Brave setup, man, was nuts. In fact, it all started the day I had gone back from Turkey.
I was about to
And
say it started because you were helping coach the Bahrain team, right?
yeah, and you were actually, we had just done an interview,
Mm-hmm.
and I was talking about Hamza Koheji and Shahid, and how these guys are gonna like really set up the MMA industry in the Middle East.
And you didn't
Um,
lie.
I wasn't lying, man. I was like, these kids, like these guys have like, man, they have
Well, I
like
mean,
a big
they got
mentality.
chic money too. So
Yeah, and now they got some chic money, man. it was like, it's nuts, Mike, how when I went to this, by the way, for all you guys that don't know Brave or what's happening with that organization, that was based out of Bahrain. It's a country in the Middle East. You can barely even see it like on a map. It's just the lettering Bahrain is bigger than the entire country on a map. But I was deployed out there. Actually, not deployed, but I was a contractor working over there. And I met up with this tiny little hole in the wall gym. And when I say it's a hole in the wall, it was a hole in the wall, in this village in
I mean,
Tupli.
shit, some of the best gyms in the world are holes in the wall.
Man, yeah, exactly. My point, and which is what attracted me to go there and go train while I was out there. So I met this Indian guy named Shahid, and this other Bahraini guy named Hamza Koheji. And so we were hanging out, and we loved the. Can you hear me, Mike?
Yeah,
Sorry,
I got you.
It got canceled out, but
no, it's all good.
yeah,
It showed a little flash picture of your you in your military outfit. So
oh yeah,
we'll just pretend I put that effect in there, and we'll go with it.
that's awesome. Man, but when I was out there, yeah, it's funny. That's me when I was 21 years old in Afghanistan. But it was really cool, man, is that I got with these guys. These guys really wanted to do something in their country with MMA. And next thing you know, man, fast forward a few months later, I'm hanging out in this hole in the wall gym with Khabib, Nurmagomedov. I'm hanging out with Islam Makhachev. I'm hanging out with Renzo Gracie. I'm hanging out with Frankie Edgar. And we're like driving in this little beater car in the middle of the desert.
And this is all in Bahrain.
It's all in Bahrain, man.
Oh, wow.
Incredible, man. So we're all hanging out, and we're hanging out with the Sheik at his palace, and just just having a great time, and talking about how we're going to develop this organization. So we got all these people involved, and and the rest is history, man. Now Brave has like really just exploded in popularity.
Yeah, they actually a fighter we have on from time to time. We've done a bunch of interviews. He was actually on our 4th episode of the podcast. Shorty Rock, Sean Santella. He actually just signed with them because he ran a fight with Jose Torres, and now he's like a full-time fighter for them, which is great because he's always been one of the best kept secrets in the MMA. Like anybody in the Northeast or East Coast knows Sean Santella. So for him to finally get at that bigger stage with Brave is awesome. And the way Brave is going from, hey, here's another little competitive promotion. Let's see where they go. To being one of the top 5 promotions in the entire world is crazy.
It's nuts, man. It's freaking crazy. And I remember, it's all thanks to like the market, like the marketing of this, of Shahid, like the president of Brave.
Yeah, we did. You put us on. We did an interview with him. He's awesome, man.
Dude, that guy's crazy, man. He's nuts. I didn't realize it, but that every little detail, and that guy covers all the details in terms of like marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Like he thinks of himself.
I know a little something about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
every single detail. I got him. Yeah.
When I first met him, in fact, I reached out to him. I was like, hey man, I'm Alex Soto. I want to come, train with you guys and all that stuff. How do I get to your place? Because I couldn't really find where that place was.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, Alex, you're gonna come? Yeah, let's go. Come over right now, and we'll hang out. So I'm like, I park, and I didn't know this at the time, but I go up to the gym, and it's like this really dark hallway. And so I walk over there, and I see I see Shahid in the middle of the hallway with a desk and some paperwork on the top, and he's like, working on his stuff, or like checking memberships and checking like things and that. And then it's funny because looking back at it now, I realized he had set that thing all up.
That was the beginning.
It was just the beginning of him like establishing like, hey, listen, I'm a businessman, and I'm working on my gym and all that stuff. But
you gotta appreciate the hustle,
dude. Yeah, man. And it was really cool. So we became buddies right after that, man. And
so that was like 6-7 years ago now.
Yeah, dude. That was 2014, I think.
Yeah.
2014.
Because we did our first interview back in 2014, the beginning of it. And then the second one was 2016. So you had just gotten Brave, getting ready to go in 2016.
Yep. That's right.
So
But
training
now,
with Khabib and all them, that was like right before Khabib really went on his big run. I mean, he was undefeated. He was kind of coming up, but he wasn't what he is now.
yeah, and actually, the Khabib was, he was on a 2-year hiatus because of an injury. I think he tore his ACL.
It was like
Um,
injury, and plus also the time he like came back was also Ramadan, and he didn't want to fight during Ramadan. So
exactly. But he's still a beast, man. So I got to train with him,
I mean, arguably he's the best in the world right now.
dude. And it's the Dagestani style of wrestling, man. And I think people don't like underestimate that style, man. And it's that combination of their way that they train, and then also their sambo background. It's like a perfect mixture for MMA. When I was
And
training,
he's only getting better now. He's actually the last couple of fights, he's kind of starting getting more striking, more. He's
his
only getting
hands,
better.
man. Yes,
He's
dude. So
only
he's
getting better.
working with. So when I was working with those guys, dude. So first of all, Khabib fucking laid it on me, dude. He beat the living shit out of me. I was so we started off standing, and I'm like, I hit him with a 1 and a 2, and then he did not like that, and he put me down, and it was like all his other, like a highlight reel of all his shows. So every time I watch it, I always cringe because I know,
because you know what
the
that feels
pressure,
like.
the pressure, dude, the pressure. You can't stop it. It's terrible, man. He fucked me up, and I got at the time I was working with Pete Williams. UFC Hall of Famer Pete Williams.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Take a look when he knocks out Mark Coleman. It's a great video if you haven't seen it yet. So Pete was he's always giving me shit. He was like, "Hey man, just don't do that to him. You're only making him mad." So it was awesome, man. But
I mean, making him mad, you making him better. Shit, he's gotta turn it on in training just like he does a fight. I played so many sports in my life. You practice how you play,
Exactly, man.
And I
anyways,
fought like, I've done martial arts as, teenager and early, adulthood and boxing and stuff like that. You got to go hard. And if you don't, then when you get in a fight, you're gonna get your ass kicked.
Exactly, man. Exactly. No, but it was a good time, man. Good time hanging out with those guys and seeing those guys and hanging out with Henso Gracie, dude. That's my highlight right there of the whole event.
It sounds like Khabib has to learn what Cerrone learned though, because I was talking to Jonathan last week, Jonathan Webb, and he was telling me because he used to go out, and he still goes out whenever they need him out into Cowboy BMF Ranch out in New Mexico. And
yeah,
him, Cowboy and Leonard Garcia, when they started that camp, when they kind of broke off a little bit from Jackson Wink, were just annihilating guys. Like anytime somebody come out there, they were just beating the shit out of them. And eventually they learned they didn't have any training partners left. And like people like Jonathan, then would come out there, and then all of a sudden they had like the amount of control the Cowboy has, where he can put a kick this close to your face without knocking you out is, insane. And, I think obviously as Khabib's gotten older, he's probably gotten better at like not destroying his partners, but that you got to have like a fine line of like learning, but not like having it so they don't come back.
Yeah, no, it's true, man. But they grind, man. The Daggies, they grind hardcore, man. In fact, after like, because not only is like the you got Khabib and Islam that came and I got to know those and train with those guys, but a lot of Dagestanis go to Bahrain to go train. So it's like this little like social pipeline from Dagestan to Bahrain now that's established. So I got to roll with a lot of those guys, a lot of guys that that are known in the industry.
What was Frankie Edgar doing out there?
We were bringing him over just to start off the whole thing.
Get somebody with experience over. Yeah.
Yeah, because they asked us, they're like, the Sheik, he didn't know anybody in MMA, and so I was like, hey, so Alex, so who should we get involved? And I was like, well, we should probably get Frankie Edgar because he's one of my favorite fighters. And then, one of the guys that people don't know of him very much right now, but he's going to be the shit, is Khabib. And he hasn't fought in a couple of years. We should bring him, he's on this side of the world, and we're, has a big, would probably be like huge star. And I don't think anybody's going to be beating this guy anytime soon.
It's one of the advantages he has in this fight right now is that he trained in Dagestan and then he went down to Abu Dhabi and it's all the same time zone.
Yep.
So he never had to adjust.
Yeah. Not to mention the food too and everything. It's perfect, man. So we brought Khabib. over as well. Islam and man, who else did we get? Oh, so we ended up getting a bunch of amateur fighters. So I was actually flown from Bahrain in a private jet, right, to
Nice.
go fly over to the International Mixed Martial Arts Federation
And bring kids
amateur
back.
to bring kids to get recommendations. And guys that I picked up, you might know who they are, but I got Shorty Torres.
Mm-hmm.
I picked him up. He had won
Who's now an
the
undefeated?
tournament.
Who's now an undefeated fighter? He
He
had the draw with,
Yep.
or no contest or a draw. I think it
No,
was a draw.
he's
And
got
Shorty,
he
like
lost
him and
he
Shorty
lost
had like a
one
draw.
fight. Yeah, they had a draw, and then also there was he got a loss in the UFC against Alex Perez. I don't know who exactly it was, but he ended up getting a
Yeah,
loss.
he
But
like 8-1, 9-1 or something.
yeah, dude, he's a beast, man, a beast, and like he's got this confidence and the relationship with this coach that's like second to none. I've never seen anything like it, man. Which I think attributes to his success. And then I brought Gallagher,
Yeah,
and Franz Malambo. So big Bellator fighters there.
the Gallagher,
That we ended
the
up getting.
Gallagher that just fought like 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. That kid's jiu-jitsu is sick,
He's
man.
He's full of confidence.
Yeah. Yeah.
We were talking about him on the show a couple weeks ago. I was like, who is he beat to have that much confidence? But I mean, you got to respect it. I mean, shit, if you win, you win.
And looks, and he got the attention from us, and like when I was in Vegas watching him fight, I mean, that kid was just glowing with arrogance, and it was just this bad attitude, and everybody was like, oh, F that guy. I was like, no, man, this kid's got it, because he's got so much, like, he's got the it factor, that people either want to see him lose or people want to see him win. They're big fans. So, and he's also phenomenal, man. He's great jiu-jitsu, dude. I roll with that kid, and that guy like just submitted me with like some fancy guillotines. I mean, that guy was good, man. So, he still is. Excuse me. So,
yeah, I mean, I'm about to say he just had a win a couple weeks ago. He's doing pretty well.
Yeah, he's doing really well, and he's getting paid too, man. He's doing some good
Bellator,
stuff.
Bellator is running as many events as UFC these weeks right now. They're both like, they took a little bit of time off because of COVID. Now they're just packing them in.
Yeah, no, they're doing phenomenal, man. Bellator is great, man, and those those guys up in Ireland are just beast, man. It's so cool to watch those. So that's what I mean. Like, what's really cool and really fun about being on the promotion side, that you're able to see that and help all these athletes basically go out there, pluck these kids out.
There's no ill will. To your benefit if they succeed. Yeah.
And now, so one of the things that I'm doing now is I'm actually working with Lux Fight League.
Yeah, I saw you doing the color commentary for them.
Yeah, so those guys are the top of the line Latin American
Mexico, right?
MMA. Yep, down in Mexico. The best Mexican fighters are there, and exciting, man. And you know how we Mexican fighters like to be.
Weren't you working with Combatis for a second too?
No, I wasn't with Combates. No,
oh, okay.
no.
I thought I saw you did some kind of like booking or something with them, but
no. I was out there with those guys. I think with some of our fighters went over there and fought, but no, I never really worked with those guys. But now with Lux, man, dude, we're going to Cancun, November 15th. It's gonna be on UFC Fight Pass, and we got El Pollo Reyes, who's going to be fighting in the main event.
It's a lot of smaller fighters, right? Like a lot of small, fast fighters, like 135, 155.
155. There's a couple guys at 170 that are sick, dude. That are doing phenomenal, man. There's also like you're saying, the lighter weights. Yep, of course, right? Because it's all natural. 125ers are sick. Okay, so I told you guys that Shorty Torres, that James Gallagher was going to be a thing. We picked up Khabib, knowing that he was going to be this shit. And so I'm going to give you guys another name, Diego Lopez, who's a Brazilian fighter, who's the champion at 145 pounds. This kid is sick, man. He's got the championship mentality, man. So you'll probably be seeing him here in the UFC shortly and taking some big titles.
Let me ask you this question, because this was a big topic the last couple of weeks on our show. Do fighters still need the UFC?
Do fighters still need to what?
So,
To do what?
Sergio De Silva, one of the co-hosts on our show, uh, constantly brings up the point that, you know, whether it's Bellator, whether it's Brave, whether it's ONE FC, independent promotions like CFFC or CES, Lux. I mean, so many different outlets for these fighters nowadays that some of them pay people even more than the UFC will pay them. Do they still need that spotlight in the UFC to be considered successful, like Eddie Alvarez, somebody like that, or is it just at this point like the UFC is cool, but they don't need it?
You know, I don't know if I agree with Sergio on that one, man. I think prestige is all about fighting, man. We're prideful people. We are, you know, we want to fight in the UFC. There's not a fighter that doesn't. That's branding right there, man. That's, you make it to the UFC, you become, you know, the UFC world champion. That's it. You're the fucking guy, man. We are pride. This is all about pride, man.
Yeah,
So,
I kind of saw his point, and I also look at it compared to, like, say, like professional wrestling. Like,
yeah,
everybody wants to be in WWE, even if they don't admit it, because if they do, no matter where they go else in the world, they get a paycheck because they were once on that television show. Or, you know, like a basketball player that maybe they were like a second or third best player on a college basketball team like North Carolina or Duke, and then they can go play anywhere in the world because on their resume is that top tier school. So I kind of see what you're saying. Like, you know, if you fight in the UFC, you can go like you fought in the UFC. You get a fight in Bellator, you get a fight in Brave, you can get a fight anywhere, because you have a name value. So I definitely agree with that point.
well, there's also, okay, now there's a different aspect to it that I think Sergio is kind of leaning on, is that do you need the UFC to survive, to feed yourself? Do you
And
need the
that I agree
UFC
with him
to?
on, that you don't.
Yeah, that's true. But even then, man, that 1% of people, of athletes that can get to that point, it's very, very, very small, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, use that argument for, you know, your parents would say when you wanted to be a football player, well, you're never gonna make it, you know, or it'll be
Yeah.
only 1% actually can make it. So it's not a deterrent for you, for anybody that are listening. Of course not, man. Believe in yourself, get your stuff ready, train, and you can achieve that stuff. But you know, it's a definitely a statistic game, you know, to
Yeah, but
make it to that
you know,
1%.
thanks to like companies like Brave and Lux and Combatus and all these independent promotions, ONE FC, and all them doing it over in Asia, there are definitely a lot more avenues for fighters to get paid now.
Yeah, like was it KSW,
Mm-hmm.
the Polish one, like
And
those
even
guys.
even M1 still running those mixed cards up in Russia and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, if you look at that one, like, I remember I was talking to Mohammed Kadylov, who just recently did like this awesome knockout. Did you watch that one?
No, I missed it. I have to go look it
Oh,
up now.
dude, go look it up. Mohammed Kadylov does like a spinning kick, not a spinning back kick, but like a flying scissor kick.
Mm-hmm.
It was a beautiful combination, dude. It's so sick. But that guy was getting pay-per-view percentages from KSW, and those guys were just, I mean, they were filling up stadiums. You know, at least back when I was kind of looking at their stuff, and huge events, man, huge. And Mohammed Kadylov is a superstar over there, um, dude. So, like I was saying, if you look at that knockout that he just did,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it shows, man. He's one of those guys. I think he's I want to say he's a middleweight or a welterweight.
Will it give Buckley a run for his money if I check it out?
Yeah, dude, the guy's just brutal, man. Brutal, like almost like a Khabib, man.
Right now, Buckley has the knockout of the year. So.
Oh, yeah, I think so. So I think that Muhammad, they was on the same weekend.
Oh, was it?
It was on the exact same weekend.
I'll have to
Dude. It
go
was the
check it
next
out.
day. And,
You said it was in
I think it was
KSW?
KSW.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'll check it out.
Take a look at it, man. I guarantee you it beats that knockout of the year.
We'll see. I'll let you know.
That's a lot, man.
I'll check it out and let you know. I'll text you and let you know if I agree or not.
Okay. Well, speaking of an awesome knockouts, dude, I'm also promoting my own show here in San Diego.
Okay.
We've been working on Muay Thai.
Okay.
So we've done 2 tournaments. We do a 1-night tournament. Winner gets a $10,000.
Nice.
So and we've had some. Yeah, we had a bantamweight win it last time. And
is this all in San Diego?
Yeah, but we bring guys from CSA, like all the best Muay Thai guys on the West Coast.
But the event's in San Diego.
But the events, yeah, it's in San Diego. And we're going to be doing our first one, with all the challenges with COVID-19.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be an outdoor event. We're doing more local fighters this time. But take a look at us, follow us on Instagram. It's Versus Fighting Championships, Versus FC, and Muay Thai. And we're going to be doing some MMA stuff today too, because there's a lot of fighters that are hitting us up. Like there's nowhere to fight, man.
Yeah, I'll put a link to all that in the show notes later. Yeah, definitely. Give me all the links for that, and I'll make sure people can check that out.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll hook you up. I'll hook you up with those stuff, man. It's
a lot of fighters are having trouble. We talked about like ONE FC with like Eddie and DJ. They've been on the bench because they're not running any events outside of Asia, and they don't want to fly any Americans over there. You have people like Bellator. Most of those fighters are either on the European tour or on the Mohegan Sun circuit. UFC's keeping people separate with Abu Dhabi and Yas Island and Vegas. Like either on one or the other.
And that's the biggest thing when you're a promoter, man. You've signed a contract that you're going to produce X amount of hours of content, and you got to produce, man. And
that's what PFL's getting in trouble with right now.
Yep. Yeah, exactly, man. And if you can't produce that, you can't make any money without any people, and then if you bring in some good fights, that's going to cost you some money, and if you're going to bring those guys on and you're not getting any return on because content, man, gets bought, but dude, it's hard.
I'll be honest. I'll be shocked if PFL has a roster comes the spring. They just announced their schedule, but Lance Palmer, all those guys are like, you promised us fights.
Yeah.
And we're not fighting twice this year. Let us out of our contract. And so they're like all up in court with everything. And some fighters, from what I've been told, off the record, are already considering themselves free agents. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens with them.
Well, I would tell the fighters to go ahead and fight somewhere else, man, because they got to feed themselves. And really, there's nothing contractually that PFL or anybody else can do and go after you, because if they're not putting their end of the bargain, then you're officially out,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, do not take Alex Soto's legal advice. He does have experience, but consult a lawyer first.
Yeah, absolutely. Consult your lawyer. But when it's tough, man, everybody's such in a tight pickle, man, with this stuff. What are you going to do if you can't produce shows? You can't make any money.
I mean, it's not just producing shows, it's training too. I mean, a lot of the training's been virtual. Sergio and Brandon on our other show have their classes and stuff, and they're happy now they can actually, get in there and, roll and strike and do some other stuff now. But even that, depending where you are, and on top of that, it's still limited, even the little bit you can do. So,
right.
Not just fighting, like fighting's like the benefit. A lot of these guys have been begging for a fight, but I think it was Benson Henderson or somebody, like before his last fight, he was just training in his house. Like, these guys are like, unless you're in somewhere like Khabib or somebody, who has these luxurious training like centers, like, but even then he had to fly Javi Mendez out to Abu Dhabi to train with him. So,
man, it's like it's sad to see. I mean, every industry, every single aspect, every industry, like guys that I work with, the guys that I do the color commentating with, the play-by-play guys. I mean, they do all the sports stuff, right? And so there was no sports for a long time.
Mm-hmm. It's a curse and a benefit, because like I've bartended for 20 plus years. Yeah. And right now I'm sitting here, on unemployment and doing whatever, but it also offered me the opportunity to move to Tampa. It offered me the opportunity to take some avenues less explored, got my network back up. I don't remember who said it, but somebody like said something, and I swear by it. It's like, if you have all this time, whether it's in quarantine or, unfortunately, if you're laid off or furloughed or anything like that, and you've been sitting here, collecting a check and doing some other stuff, and you haven't developed a skill, you haven't done something productive, whether even it's something simple as read a bunch of books or learn a new skill or get a business started or get something going, then you've just wasted the last 6 months. Like, this is one of the most horrific times in our lifetimes. Yeah. Like, we've never had a pandemic like this. The last one was 100 years ago. Yeah. But it's also up to you to make the most of it as well. And Don't go out there. Don't get other people sick. Don't, if you're in public, put on a mask and do all the good stuff. But on your own time, you might want to be grinding and doing something. Otherwise, you're just wasting it. And you don't
Yeah,
get that. You don't get that part of your life back.
that's so true, man. And I think you got to just look for opportunities. And, if you're out there sucking, man, there's always a way to get out there and find a way to reinvent yourself. And that can be very difficult for some people. And difficult to find and stuff, but man, you got the hustle, Mike. You've always had it, and that's awesome.
I go through periods. I'm not perfect by any means.
Yeah.
I go through periods. I go through hiatuses. I go through other stuff, whether it's life getting in the way or, every one of us has our own story. And much like yourself, you fought like active, and sometimes you took some time off and you did some other things and then came back to it. You were doing the brave thing, and then you came in and had your maybe retirement fight at Bellator.
Dude,
Which you
that whole
won.
fight.
Now you won that fight, so you could go off on a winning streak. You're like, all right, I won my last fight. But like you said, that competitiveness, that fire.
That fire, man, it's always there, dude. I don't think any fighter ever wants to. I mean, you got Mike Tyson coming back, dude. Like that fire never leaves, man.
I'm scared for Roy Jones.
Yeah, so am I, man.
Well, though I did hear that I guess they're talking about a rule. I don't know if it's official. I haven't read it anywhere. I just heard it on the show, but like, I guess no knockouts or something like that. I don't know. So because I guess they only got the license because they said it was going to be an exhibition. That's the only reason they got licensed to begin with.
Okay.
So I think the commission's like, all right, you guys can fight, you can have fun, but nobody get killed. And so that actually benefits Roy Jones, because then he can just kind of like dance around a little bit.
Yeah. No, I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it goes, man. But I'm gonna watch it.
Those training videos were scary from Tyson. I'll give him that much.
He looks the same, like he didn't skip a day, man.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I'm talking about. When I got that call to fight for Bellator, I was eating a pizza. I was and I was weighing 100.
Way to stay in shape there, Alex.
Yeah, I was eating a pizza and I weighed 100.
Not that I can talk, but COVID definitely hit my workout schedule for.
Hey, dude, same here, man. Same here.
I started this year losing weight, getting back in shape. I was starting to work on my business again, like all this before COVID, and I was kind of getting motivated. And then my gym got shut down, my bar got shut down, like all this stuff in DC. And I'm just like, all right, so I'm sitting on the couch, I'm bored. Where do you go? Refrigerator. Yeah. And it just
open a brew.
Yeah, it added up real quick. Yeah. And I went back to work for a little while, and they're kind of like, all right, lost a little bit, but nah. I need to get off my ass too. I can't say shit.
Yeah, I agree, man. But so this was funny.
Now you're gonna have me probably go for a damn run after this show. Thanks a lot, Alex.
Yeah, well, I get that. I motivate people. That's what I am. I'm a motivator.
There you go.
I was so I got that call, right? And they're like, Alex, my coach calls me, Manny. He goes, hey, Alex, I don't, you want to fight? And I was like eating my pizza. I was like, yeah, I'll take a fight. Sure, why not? And he goes, all right. He's like, the fight's in 3 weeks. I was 180 pounds of just fat slob, man. Just in my couch. I was like, all right, I'll come in. I'll come train tomorrow. So we start training. 3 weeks of training, and it was at 145 pounds. I'm usually a bantamweight fighter.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you what that weight was after you told me 180.
Oh, dude, it was awful, man. So I didn't even make weight. I was at 147 pounds, and I was dying to get down, dude. It was terrible, man.
I know it's a respect thing, but I mean, I'm sure your opponent at least understands that you were on short notice.
Yeah, he knows. Yeah. He was totally cool, man. But we, came in and we fought. Dude, I was so out of shape in that fight. It took me like a round to kind of kick. Like, I remember he punched me and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that these things hurt. But then I got loose, man. And then, I called it my retirement fight because I felt so comfortable in the ring after the first round. I just felt so good. I felt home. I felt at ease. I felt like cool-headed. I felt just fantastic in that fight.
Kind of washed the bad taste out of your mouth after that Ricky Simon fight.
Yeah, but out of shape, but felt good. Yeah.
You won,
in that
right?
Ricky Simon fight, that was
sick, you won.
Dude.
Who cares, right? Like, out of shape or not, you won. Shit.
Yeah.
The fact that you won out of shape is probably why you're so competitive with the fire now. You're like, if I could win out of shape, imagine what I could do in shape.
Exactly, man. Exactly. And and that's kind of like a whole back and forth thing, dude. Yeah, like taking that fight against Ricky Simon, dude. That kid's a beast, man. And we fought fucking to the teeth, man. And it's really cool. I mean, we've talked a lot. We're still friends. We still hit each other up every now and then.
That's one thing I love about mixed martial arts. I absolutely love it. The amount of guys that went to war and went to dinner the next day. Like, it's just, you got some people with legit bad blood. That is not a secret. I mean, it is a fight. It's not badminton, but the amount of people that legitimately use this sport as competitiveness and the competition and call it a sport. And then the next day, like, I don't expect Woodley and Covington to go out and have a burger, but well, maybe Woodley might. Woodley kind of looked like he wanted to be friends more than Covington, but the amount of people that just, like, I have on the shows, or I've talked to in this business, and that, that, like, I fought this guy, but we still talk. Like, you look at Shemaev, like, I just saw him this weekend. Like, he was in the back giving John Phillips pointers after he just choked John Phillips out like 2-3 weeks like before that, or like maybe a few months before that. Like, I think it may have been his UFC debut or whatever it was for Shemaev. But, like, to have that kind of camaraderie is by far, like, everybody talks about how brutal MMA is, but they don't ever really talk about the sportsmanship, the camaraderie, the just that kind of level. You don't see that in other sports.
Yeah, that's true, man. That's true. That's a lot to do with, it's like pure, man. There's nothing like fighting, man. Getting out there and fighting and doing your best to get against another human, trying to knock each other's heads off. I mean, there's nothing like that, man. I can't even explain it, but seriously, it's one of the best feelings in the entire world.
And it's just the level of respect. I mean, you might not like the person after the fight, but you guys got it out. It's like, I remember, like, being in, high school, middle school, whatever, and, you had somebody you really hated. And guess what? How many times would two guys get in a fight at lunch, and by the end of the day, they'd be best friends again? Like, it's just, there's something primal about it, but also at the same time, it's just competitive. It's boys being boys, girls being girls now. And, the girls get down more vicious than any of the guys do. And sometimes even with a higher skill level, which is, I see some of these women fighting now, and you go back, 10 years, maybe even a little bit longer, Cyborg and Gina Carano and them kind of getting all that ball rolling on the main level anyway. I mean, there was boxing, there's some other stuff, Christy Martin and all this. But, to where that is now. And the worst part, I mean, Cyborg is still demolishing people. We don't know what Carano could have done if she had kind of stuck with it.
Yeah.
But some of those fighters that came up during the Ronda Rousey era, Betch Correa and some of these others, can't even hang now. Like, some of these girls are so badass.
Yeah.
And there's so many of them. And just the level. Now I know, like, a lot of them can't fight in the Middle East. Not allowed in certain countries. Like Saudi Arabia is not going to have them. And but do you guys, like, does Brave, like, I know you're not technically with them anymore, but does Brave, like, have any of like a women's division? I'm not even sure.
Yeah, we've had girls fight there.
Okay.
We've had girls fight.
But do they fight in, like, Bahrain and stuff like that? They don't fight in, like...
Yeah. So that was one of the things, was like, it's like a cultural thing, and I don't know. I remember when we were first starting this up, I really wanted to break barriers, man. That was my biggest thing. Breaking barriers in having an MMA fight in Bahrain was one thing, just period. Because in Bahrain, like, hitting somebody else is like the most, illegal thing you could do, is to hurt another human. Like, that's
countries
like,
over there punishable by death.
Yeah, exactly. So, we were breaking barriers just starting off. And I remember thinking, well, we're breaking the barrier with just having MMA in Bahrain, so doing that is like a big deal already in itself. And it's kind of like, once we broke that barrier and it was all set and everything's like, it's very competitive and really good. They ended up, we had our first woman fights, I think, in India. So in India, we did have our first female fighters, still in a very predominantly Muslim country, or part of the country. And it went fine. And the content was distributed in Bahrain as well. So it wasn't like you're not going to see it. You know, you still see stream UFC fights, and you still see the girls fighting
There's
in
but
Saudi
there's
Arabia.
definitely some barriers still to get broken down.
Yeah, you know, exactly. And like I said, it's like a cultural thing. So it's almost like I don't know. It's different to put yourself in a different perspective. Right. When we say, you know, we for instance, I'll give you an example of a cultural difference. If you go in some parts of India, you know, eating cow is the most disgusting thing. It's the
Oh yeah, I
most
mean
awful thing to
they
possibly
put
do.
the cows up on a pedestal. Yeah,
The cows are gods, you know, and then we eat them like whatever.
they're people reincarnated.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, they just cannot believe that we would eat a cow, you know, and we're eating cows like whatever. So, you know, it's like it's
More
kind
for
of
me.
similar. Yeah, more meat for me. Yeah, exactly.
Every time I
But
see a
yeah,
vegan or a vegetarian, I'm like, hey, I appreciate your choice. Thank you for not taking my food.
you know what I say? I was like, hey, you're eating my food's food. Please stop it.
I tell them to stop eating my oxygen. Like they're killing my oxygen.
That's
That's all.
hilarious.
But that's only if they're being a dick. If they're just naturally doing it for health reasons or whatever, I'm
Yeah,
all for it.
of course, of course,
But
of
if they're
course.
trying
No
to be like over
disrespect.
the top, I'm like, well, funny you say that.
Yeah. Yeah, man. You know, it's wild, but man, it's been cool with those guys and breaking barriers and changing perspective on that stuff, man. That's so cool.
So now that you're doing all the versus stuff in San Diego, is that going to be? And you said it's going to be Muay Thai and MMA now, or is it
Yeah,
just
so
mostly Muay Thai?
we're doing our first MMA next month on the
Okay.
15th, and it's you know, it involves, you know, bringing guys are just hungry, man.
Mm-hmm.
I just got we just signed Emotep. Let me see if I got his name. I want to get his name right.
We lost your video for a second.
Oh yeah. Okay. Let me get you guys up. Yeah, we just Sunny Emotep.
Okay.
So we just signed him. Oh, can you see me now?
Yeah, you're back. You're good.
Yeah, he's a Bellator guy, young fighter. And he's gonna be, you know,
I'm
we
sure
just signed him.
I'm sure the ladies at home appreciate 21-year-old Alejandro Soto.
Oh shit, that came back up again. I forgot. Oh, that's funny.
That's all good.
Yeah. So yeah, check it out, man. It's really fun. I love still being involved in MMA. I don't train as much because I've been just so busy with work. With my family, got two beautiful kids.
Congratulations.
Thanks, man. You know, the last time we talked, I think I've only had my daughter, but now I got my boy. And
Trust me, the daughter's enough. I have a 12-year-old daughter. That's enough.
that is enough, man.
That is enough, and it's only getting worse. I love her. I love her so much. It only gets worse.
It does, man. Oh man.
How old's your daughter now?
She is 7 years old.
Oh yeah, appreciate it now.
Yeah, it's wonderful, man.
Every year you think it's bad, just know it's getting worse.
She already knows everything, man.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, it's so cool, man. So I've been busy with that, and I haven't been training as much. I miss it, man. The other day I found my gloves.
Where do you train at now when you do go train? Do you still do? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. I train with Manny at 10th Planet, San Diego. Okay. But man, it's been so long. I just show up once a year, maybe it seems like. But
those Eddie Bravo gyms are everywhere now, especially on the West Coast.
It's fun, man. It's so fun. It's so different than like your average, you know.
We're gonna have Anthony Burchak on in a couple weeks, and he does the one out in Tucson.
Oh yeah. Oh, perfect. Yeah, we got Boogie Martinez at our gym in San Diego.
Okay.
And he's just a phenomenal instructor, man. Dude, that guy, like, it's so much fun to learn from him, and you know, I haven't been to his classes, so it's kind of embarrassing, but man, that guy is a great instructor. He's probably one of the best jiu-jitsu instructors.
Do you still keep in touch with all the Hurricane Awesome people from back in the day?
Oh hell yeah, dude! I'm still homies with all those guys.
That's still family.
Yeah, of course, man. We shed
that's
blood
where you
together.
Started, right?
Yeah, with Team Hurricane Awesome. It's me, Manny, and Andu Murad. I don't know if you know Andy Murad.
I don't know Andu now.
He is the Tooth Fairy. Andy Murad, the Tooth Fairy, and he fought in Bellator.
And by the way, for the people wondering, Manny is Manolo Hernandez, right?
Yep, Manolo Hernandez, and he's been my coach. He's been my mentor, man. And so me, Andy, and Manolo have been basically running the shows for Muay Thai and MMA, and we've been just staying in the business, man, and just really enjoying what we
Man, the
work
amount the
with each
amount of
other.
knowledge Manny has like is crazy. The amount of
Yeah,
years in his business, then the people he knows, the coach. That dude isn't. He's just. If you're not picking, if you're in a gym around him and you're not asking him 5,000 questions,
yeah.
you're missing an opportunity.
He's been around since uh, the the Lions Den days, man. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
in the early '90s, man. Like, he was there with Ken Shamrock. You know, he knows everybody, like you said, in the industry, dude. It's so freaking crazy how well Manny's known in the industry. Everybody loves him. He's a great guy. He's a fun guy. He's a man of his word. He's just a cool dude, man.
Nah, like I said, if you're in a gym with him, you see him. I
Yeah.
don't care if you're bothering him, whatever. Ask your
Yeah.
question, shoot your shot, because that
Yep.
guy, him. I mean, there's obviously a handful of people, like over here on the East Coast. If you see Burt Watson, you better go up to him. Like, I have a handful of people like that. If I ever see in person, I'm just like, yo, let's talk.
Yeah.
Maybe they
Yeah.
say yes, maybe they don't say yes, but I was lucky enough to be at a bar one time talking to Burt Watson for a while, and that was one of the best conversations I've ever had. So,
Oh, cool, man. Cool. That's awesome, man. Yeah, I met with him. I was hanging out with him on the airplane on the way back from one of our UFC fights, and he's dude, just a super nice dude, you know.
yeah, he's actually got his own show now. Funny enough, I think he's
Yeah,
doing MMA Junkie or something like that. One of those show like networks.
I do remember seeing that. Yeah, I read a little bit about that. He started like a promotion
That
on
guy
the
has
East
so
Coast.
much personality. I mean, you got to remember he came up during like the Smoking Joe Frazier days, like Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier. He was like Joe Frazier's manager.
Oh, I didn't know his story. Really?
Yeah, he was like Joe Frazier's business manager or something like that. And I did an interview with him a number of years ago, and like, yeah, like he was sitting there drinking his Heineken with a big like giant ass watch on his wrist, and like you knew he was somebody important. And at the time, this is back in 2012, so um when me and Eric Johnson started Art of MMA, it was because of this event that they had in Fairfax, Virginia. I was living out there at the time, and Eric had driven up from like the Norfolk area to try to interview Dustin Poirier, who was on the card
Hey, that's the part. That's the card that I fought in.
in Fairfax.
Yeah, in that fight with Poirier versus Zombie.
Yeah, I thought I saw you on that card. I just never was sure.
Yeah.
Well, I was like 5 rows from the cage, so there you go. Small world.
That's awesome.
But yeah, Eric came up and he was like sitting in the lobby waiting for it, and I had just gotten back from living in Denver for a little while, and I just moved back. And the hotel all you guys were staying at, that Hyatt, was where I used to bartend. And so
Okay.
the other bartenders and everybody's like, Mike, we know you're big into MMA. They're all here right now. What are you doing? Get over here. And like, I was like, I'm bartending right now. I'm working. I was working in another place not far from there in Arlington, Virginia. And I was like, all right. So after work, I came, and they'd all like packed up for the day by the time I had got there that night.
Yeah.
But between that and the next few nights that I just happened to be lucky enough to be off and lucky enough to get free tickets to that event because they were all there, was just crazy. The amount of fighters I met, Cowboy, met Cowboy's family, his dad and his dad's girlfriend, and they had Cowboy running around the lobby trying to measure wine glasses to see if the circumference is equal to the stem, because he just couldn't believe that little small stem was equal to like the big round part at the bottom. And he was like trying to prove his dad wrong. George St. Pierre was there for like a split second, because I guess he was just at the card.
Yeah.
Dana, Ariel Hawani, like literally who's who at the time was at that hotel. Got to see, actually, sadly enough, I guess I'm not even say funny. Sadly enough, I saw Dustin after that fight.
Oh yeah.
And he was still like, you talk about a guy, and I don't always vibe with Dustin Poirier. I don't like, sometimes his routine gets to me a little bit, but I will respect the fact that he always wears his emotions on his sleeve. Even after that fight in the lobby, hours later, coming through, I guess he had a meeting with his coaches or something. He was going back to his room, still like in tears that he had lost that fight. And I don't remember if he was undefeated going in that fight or he was just like maybe like early on one or two losses, but like, and I to this day, I would wish they would somehow find a way to run that fight back, because
Oh yeah.
I think Zombie gave him his toughest fight, and that was pre like him going off to military and pre like Jung going off to Korea for a couple years.
Yep. Yep.
Before he took that time off, and he's still a dangerous fighter despite what happened with Ortega. Before he took that time off, he was dominant. Like he was destroying everybody. And
Yep.
you being in that locker room, you saw that card, you saw that fight. That
Yep.
guy, that guy was like killing everybody. And also in that card, I saw Cowboy literally just like pick apart Stevens. Like it wasn't even close.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that.
So you fought, let's see, that card. So was that the Rivera card? No.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
fought
Rivera
against
fight.
Francisco Rivera on that one, dude. And
Okay,
that
yeah.
guy was a beast, man. Probably one of the hardest fights I had was against Francisco Rivera.
Okay, yeah, it was
That,
like towards the end of your run. Yeah.
yeah,
So
dude,
that was your last UFC fight, yeah.
yep. And that kid was fucking tough, man. I mean, he hit like a brick, man. So he had me doing the chicken leg a couple of times.
Yeah,
Uh,
now that I pull up his picture, I remember the guy. Yeah.
yeah. He was always willing to put up a good show. And I think that was like the reasoning behind that fight with me was we wanted to put up a good show. I wasn't really focusing on winning the fight. I just wanted to put up a good show.
Mm-hmm.
But man, yeah, that was a fun night and hanging out with those guys. And then I remember.
I'm just excited I got to hang out with Brittany Palmer. So I don't know what the rest
Oh
of you
yeah,
guys were doing.
it was cool hanging out at the end at the hotel at
Yeah.
the lobby. We were all watching our fights.
Mm-hmm.
It was really cool, man. It was fun.
Yeah,
I remember,
I was right. Funny enough, I was right there. Yeah, I was in the mix of all that crowd.
that's freaking crazy, man. Let's see, we always connected at some
But
points.
now
Man.
that I
That's
know
awesome.
you, if we see you again, now it's like, hey, what's up, Alex? But
Yeah, exactly. That's so cool, man. That's awesome.
you ever get down to Tampa, we're definitely gonna hang out.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, for sure, dude. I think I got some family up in Sarasota. So
Okay,
that's not too
yeah,
far, isn't it? Tampa's
45
just a little bit
minutes.
north. Yeah.
Sarasota South,
Yeah.
45 minutes south of here. Like where I am, I'm actually, because of COVID, I tried really hard to get a place by the water when we were moving down, but people wouldn't respond. Leasing agents, realtors, like it's just not a good time. And even when you have the resources and the time, and because we came down a month before we moved to like really check out the neighborhoods and the places, and my wife and daughter, and we were just like, we really like, we had an idea. We vacation here, we vacation in Miami. We knew what we were getting into, but
Right.
it's different living somewhere. So we wanted to really go through the neighborhoods, go see where we wanted. Nobody would respond. And so we tried really hard to get by like Clearwater and Palm Harbor and all these really cool places by the water that we still drive to and go hang out. But we ended up over on the east side of Tampa in an area called Brandon. And it's actually been a blessing because it's about 20 minutes to downtown. It's about 45 minutes to the beach either way, because we don't have to go, like we're on the east side, so we can just drive straight down along the land area. We don't have to go across a bunch of bridges to get to like Sarasota and Bradenton. We could go we can jump across the bridge real quick to go to Clearwater. So everything's pretty much in reach. And so it ended up being a blessing in disguise. Do I still want to live right on the water? Yes. But makes my wife a little bit more secure. She didn't have to worry about hurricanes and stuff so much here. So
yeah, you guys just had one, right? A hurricane not too long ago.
nah, we haven't had anything. All of them have been hitting Louisiana and Texas.
Gotcha.
We get a little bit of rain, a little bit of wind. There hasn't been a direct hurricane hit in Tampa for like 22 years. Even a few years ago when we were coming back from Miami and Irma was right behind us, it sucked out all the water in the bay, but it didn't actually hit in Tampa. It actually went up towards Orlando, funny enough. So
yeah.
Does Tampa get like the side effects of a hurricane? Yeah. The chances of hitting it, knock on wood somewhere.
It's like what people say, earthquakes in California, man. Same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing.
I
But
mean,
hey, that place.
you don't want that to like wish that on anybody, but
No.
you can't really live and worry about that.
Exactly.
I'm more worried about COVID and other stuff I can actually see.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I've seen people get hurt and die from COVID, so that I kind of see.
Yeah.
Talking about being in Tampa though, like the thing is like there are some like major fighters that train out of here. Yeah. But because of COVID, I really haven't had a chance. Like I won't even go to my gym, like, which is about 10 minutes from here, because I think it's kind of like a petri dish a little bit. It's really a personal choice right now. We talk about that on the other show all the time. It's like want to get out and want to train, want to do everything else, but you know, it's a risk, and it's a risk that you can either take or not take. You can't live scared. You can't live, you know, worrying about every small thing, but this isn't really a small thing. So it's definitely a personal choice for people. And I understand the people that want to get out and really want to do stuff, you know, it just depends on your circumstances. And, but I would love to eventually, long story short, and we just went back to 21-year Alex for a second, but long story short, I would like to really connect with some of these gyms around here and, you know, get some of those fighters on this show and get some, you know, more of those connections like that time in Fairfax all those years ago. You know, those kind of relationships are the ones you keep for life, you know. And in this business, everybody, you're talking about, you know, Hurricane Awesome and all those Liz Camouche and all those guys and girls. And it's just, you know, those are the kind of people you can always reach out and text or call.
Yep, exactly, man. And yeah, that's what it is about the sport, man. It's just a tight industry, and everybody knows each other, man. It's wild, man. It's a small little niche of people that really want to beat each other up in a ring. So
Yeah. Now talking about family, and I'm not going to hold you too much longer. I did want to ask you something. So
yeah,
I was reading back some of our old interviews, and at the very end, it wasn't even really part of the interview, so I kind of felt bad. I never really had a chance to follow up on it.
yeah.
But your wife was going through a recovery period, and I just really wanted to see, you know, how she's doing, how's everybody, you know, where she's at right now.
Dude, it's awesome that you asked, Mike. Yeah. So my wife Joy had a non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is like the more aggressive type of cancer.
Yeah.
And this was before we had kids, man. They had told us, hey, you know what? You guys aren't going to have any kids. You know, your chances of having a child is like 10%, you know, and we're sitting in the interview or in the office, you know, because we're trying for like a year or two of trying to have kids.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, you know, so we saw a specialist. The specialist was like, hey, man, you probably have like a less than a 10% chance of having kids. And so my wife was devastated and all this stuff. And I was like, fuck, man, that sucks. But then the doctor didn't know, but she was already like an hour and a half pregnant. But just kidding. So we were actually pregnant already at that point.
Nice to see what you do before doctor's appointments. Okay.
But we were trying, man. So we were pregnant.
There goes our family rating. Thanks a lot.
So we told the doctor, we let her tell us the spiel. It told us that, you know, our chances were pretty low, but we had told them, hey, you know, we just found out we were pregnant. So we had, so at that point we, you know, after that we had two wonderful, healthy kids, man. So, since then Joyce, has now, she's writing a book right now. She's about to publish her book on that. That'll be available on Amazon. And also she's also done a lot of TED Talks. So there's a TED Talk of her speech, and her, the tech talk, her TED Talk was about the complexities of essentially filming her death, because she did a documentary of going through the entire process of cancer, not knowing if she was going to survive. And the reason she had done that is because every cancer documentary had the person dying at the end. So she was looking for a
speaking of
film
brave,
with
no
hope.
pun intended.
Yeah, dude, she's awesome, man. My wife is incredible. She's just one of the toughest, hardest, like, just, I mean, she is a tough girl, man. And one of the reasons I love her so much is that she's just tough, man. And she's so good. She's so smart. And she was able to pull through, man. And she talks about how she was able to do that when she thought all hope was lost. And she talks about that in the TED Talk. You'll see that on her book.
That's amazing.
And yeah, it's incredible, man. And now to this day, one of the things that she did, she developed because she's also a dolphin trainer. She made a program with the Children's Hospital, with kids with cancer, to come to SeaWorld San Diego. And the program was to invite these kids to come and experience swimming with the dolphins. And it was like an inspiration for these kids to say, hey, you know what? Joy she had cancer. But look at her now. She's doing well. There's an end to this. And that's one of the things that people don't really
I don't think you can probably see it. I don't know. I guess I can lean I got to figure out which way to lean out of the way. But in the very back, I have a spirit, a rye whiskey company has a spirit, and on their box it says "fuck cancer." So
yeah,
we've lost a couple people in our family to cancer, so it's always something very near and dear. It was both on my wife's side, so
Yeah.
When you see that up close and personal, I lost my grandfather. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody has lost somebody to that terrible disease. So the fact that she can just keep on, not only just survive, but to thrive,
Yeah.
that's an amazing story. And yeah, definitely when you find that link, send it to me. I would love to share it.
Yeah, of
Put it
course.
in the show notes and give people a chance. Yeah, Joy Soto, and I'm sure people can Google it and find it. But
Yeah,
yeah,
she's
her
incredible.
story's amazing.
Yeah, it really is, and one of the main reasons, that we've been pulling through in life, man. I'm telling you, dude. My wife and I have been like going through all these adventures, together, and it's all thanks because and she made it through. So I'm very grateful for every day that I have with her, and it's it's incredible her story of
What's it been
of
like 4 or 5 years now?
um
She's been free, or
yeah, she's been free for over 10 years now.
oh, over 10.
So
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So she's been free with that. And man, like I'm telling you, it's freaking phenomenal
So
that
she
we've
had
been
to have
able
been
to
she had to have been kind of young when she got everything.
she was 25 years old when she
Yeah.
when she got diagnosed. So it's one of that one small percentage of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma that gets you when you're young and you don't even expect it, and it's too late. She had stage
Yeah.
4 cancer.
I mean, you can say something's 1%, less than 1%. If you're part of that 1% that you or your family's affected, that's a big 1%. So,
Yeah.
I say the
Man,
same thing when people diss about COVID and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, you can say it only kills 1% of the population, but
yeah.
what are you going to tell to that family that lost somebody loved who was part of that 1%?
Yep.
And so, you know, anytime, whether it's COVID or cancer or any kind of medical, something that you can't even prevent, like you can't, like COVID, you can at least have some kind of preventative measures, wear a mask, do some other stuff,
Yeah.
stay social distancing. You can't
Yep.
prevent cancer. Like there's no cure. There's no, people can come up with every rhyme and reason of why someone gets it.
Yeah.
Nothing is for sure. Not even the top scientists in the world know why one person gets it and the next doesn't.
Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly. And fuck, man.
Even
So,
even
that's
HIV, you know how you got it.
yeah.
You don't, like, cancer is like the silent killer. You just don't know, and it's horrible. Go ahead. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's true, man. It's just sometimes it hits you and you don't even know and there's no reason. It just comes up, man, like you're saying. But we're living good. We're living healthy lives.
It's great to hear.
And so we're doing fantastic now, man.
Well, Alex, man, I think I've taken up quite a bit of your time. I appreciate you spending an hour with me. You are 100% always welcome back. I'd love to
Uh,
get you on the round table. I think I would probably die with you and Sergio going back and forth.
yeah,
But
let's do
but
it, man.
yeah, and Brandon's awesome, and Eddie when he's on the show, like, we just have a really good time. I think you would have a good time on that, talking about the fights. Real quick before I
Hell
let
yeah.
you get out of here, who wins this weekend, Khabib or Gaethje?
I got Khabib. I think the wrestling style. I don't think Gaethje. I know he's a wrestler as well. He's an American wrestler. There's just no comparison. He hasn't seen Dagestani wrestling, and it's just a little bit different. That's gonna be the edge that's gonna give it to Khabib.
I think it's going to be more competitive than some of Khabib's fights, because I think the way Gaethje keeps distance with his feet is something
I
nobody else
agree.
does.
I
Like, a
agree.
lot of people try to keep distance with their hands, like he does it with his feet, his
Yep.
footwork, his kicks, his everything. That's going to keep, like, that. I think that might confuse Khabib for a little bit, but I think at the same time, I just don't see anybody beating Khabib if he's on top of his game. I worry about him
No.
mentally. I know he just lost his father and some other stuff. But he's probably one of the most mentally tough people I've ever seen in that cage. So
Yeah.
he does look a little worn out in some of these interviews he's been doing, but you've been through that circuit. Sometimes those interviews kind of wear you out, whether you're
Yeah.
at
Same
the top of
questions
your
over and
game.
over.
Yeah, whether you're at the top of the game. Like, I think Stephen A. Smith asked him about Connor. He's like, I don't want to talk about that shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, so to your response there on the kicking game of Gaethje, one of the number one things you do against a wrestler is you don't kick a wrestler.
yeah,
You kick a wrestler, you're gonna get taken down.
except
So
for
that's
except for Ben Askren when Masvidal jumped across that cage with that knee.
except for that, yeah. And it wasn't a kick; it was a knee. It was a
Yeah.
flying knee. I
I've
didn't
always
say
said that. I
no
always said
flying
that,
knee.
like, my amateur opinion. I've always said, like, I don't know why more people don't do what he did, because Yeah, you could probably get caught, but more often than not, a fighter's probably going to fade away just because they're not expecting it.
Yeah.
But if you got a guy like Askren, which you know is going for that takedown before anything, that's all he really like. He's an experienced MMA fighter. Every MMA fighter, no matter if they're a grappler or a striker, trains in everything.
Yeah.
Like we had a big discussion about when GDR got her first submission win, or when Cyborg got her first submission win, which was kind of a copycat thing. But like they train in all this stuff. Like it's not like they're sitting in the gym just sitting there striking every day. They're training everything.
Yeah.
Michael Venom Page, when he got taken down by Houston a couple weeks ago, he wasn't the most graceful person on the ground, but you know what? That guard he had, that crab guard he threw up, like shut Houston down.
Yep.
You know,
It did.
sometimes you don't have to be effective like subbing people, but you can learn how to defend yourself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think this fight's gonna be super competitive. A couple of the guys on the show, both funny enough, both the pros, the MMA fighter and the kickboxer both picked Gaethje.
Interesting.
And then both the journalists, me and Eddie, both picked Khabib. So, it's going to be one of the best fights of the year. I'm looking forward to seeing it. But Alex, man, this has been a pleasure, man. I'm so glad we got you on. I can't wait to get you back sometime soon.
Yeah, man. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll drop links to everything. I'll drop links to everything you're doing. The Versus. I know you got a Lux show coming up soon in Cancun. So, good luck with everything, man. Good luck to your wife for continued recovery, and I appreciate it, man.
Hugs, man. Thank you very much.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Art of MMA Conversations. I hope you're enjoying the show. Leave a comment. Let us know what your favorite part was. And just keep on tuning in. We appreciate it. Like and subscribe. Thank you so much. That's a wrap.